Good day. In this video, we'll show how you can turn on correction factors when you're in EMI receiver mode with our signal analysis. So I have a PXA turned on and this is now set to EMI receiver mode. This is the interface you'll be prompted with. So to begin with, prior to this, you might want to go and set up the measurement standards that you're testing for. So I have here CISPR in range 5, so that would be the 30 megahertz to 1 gigahertz range. If you want, you can always add on extra detectors, not just the peak. Let's close that. So I'll just leave that as basic as possible. We'll now go into the corrections tab. So that would be under input output. Corrections, that's the tab on the right. So if you have individual corrections you like to add on, you can pick a correction file here. So I'll just leave this as correction 1. If you hit edit corrections, you can manually insert rows and put in the frequency and amplitude. If you have a file that you like to recall, to do that you can then go into the folder icon down here at the bottom, hit recall and go into correction. So you can then recall from the folder where you load the correction files. That was under user. You would then go to the folder you've loaded the correction file in. We do have some preloaded files, and that is under EMC limits and amplitude correction. So there's an amplitude correction folder. So for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to pick this antenna here. So it'll then tell me that this correction file has been recalled. So to identify if the file has been recalled or not, it will be amber at the top. If it's off, it'll then be white. So to see that, let me just do a quick scan. Perhaps, yep, let me just do a quick scan. So this tells me I have the correction files turned on. If I turn it off, you can then see the noise floor is reduced and the correction file wasn't recalled. So that's for individual correction file. If you want to group a few components into one correction file, we would go into group corrections. So that's still under input output, and to the right, the corrections tab. If you scroll down, that's group correction, so we'll turn that on. If you had an individual correction file selected earlier, it will automatically be grayed out. So if you hit down, we can then go ahead and do edit correction group. So the first thing you'll need to do is insert a range. So I might be only interested in having corrections being loaded from 30 megahertz to say 500 megahertz. I'll just give this a description so I know what I have here. Sample 1. And I'll probably want to know that I've added an amped antenna and cable. So once you have the start and stop frequency range loaded, you can then specify the file. So it should start with file 1. So let's specify a file. I'm going into the preloaded files again. If you need to navigate to another folder, you can do that. So in this case, I might start with that amplifier that I want in the system, for example. So let's recall that. Then I'll specify another file within the same range with an antenna that goes all the way up to 1 gigahertz. And for file 3, I'm going to specify cable correction factor. So I'll put that in. So now I have 3 files grouped together as one. So I can go to the correction trace and see that the antenna has the biggest contribution. So the total correction trace, which is the one that's in bold and green, is what my correction factor looks like. So you can see here, amplifiers correction files in yellow, the antenna close field probe is in tinaline green, and the blue is the cable. So the bold trace is the total correction trace that I have. If we close that now, you can see that's being reflected here. If you turn off group corrections, you can see the noise floor will drop. So this is how you can add in correction factor. The break on and off is for when you do a scanning. If you have break on, it will then sweep across this range first and do a break before you continue with the rest of the sweep. So this might be useful if you're sweeping across a white band, but you might want to just focus on the range that you've specified under the group correction. I hope this video helps. Thanks for watching.